So Pokemon celebrated their 30th anniversary recently, and as expected, there were news regarding the upcoming games. It will be called Pokemon Winds and Waves, and will be released in 2027. Alongside, we got a teaser and the starters that will accompany us on our adventures. Let's go over them first before I get to drawing. First we have Brow, the cute little sprout bird with eyebrows. Then this cunty little Petrop thing called Gekwa. And lastly, a dog that seems to be the fan favorite so far. First I started with Pombon's next evolution, and since he's a Pomeranian, I knew that I needed him to become even bigger and fluffier. For reference, I used the Samoyed, which in the end didn't resemble one at all, but that's okay. All my friends really liked him and even called it the best drawing out of the bunch. Maybe I shouldn't have said that. The others are cool too, I promise. Please don't turn off this video. Pombon definitely seems to be the fan favorite so far, but he won't be my pick. A lot of people said that I have a slight feeling that he might turn into a biped like Incineroar for example, and I agree. However, I really hope that he will stay on 4 legs and will resemble a dog somehow. Not every Pokemon needs to be buff and standing on 2 feet. One of said friends later suggested the name Pombini for this guy, and I think it's perfect. So, here you go.
Pombini. This Pokemon has historically been a partner to many brave trainers. It actively seeks to be near humans.
Next was the final evolution, and here things couldn't go as smoothly as before. My vision was to turn him into what's essentially a huge Chow Chow, with their signature droopy eyes. But I'm afraid it doesn't look spectacular enough for a 3rd evolution. All I wanted for him was to stay on 4 feet just like the rest of the fandom. In hindsight, I would have liked to rework this piece and make the coat fluffier and his head bigger, but I knew that making this video will already take so long, so I scrapped that. But what do you think? Is this guy big enough?
Bonferno. This Pokemon rescues humans that have gotten lost or injured in the wilderness. They are known to show up in times of need.
Next we have Brout's next evolution, which I decided to name Browtech, because he will develop into a plant/electric Pokemon later on. During this stage, Browtech also starts to develop and find his personality, which will become more apparent later on. I used the cockatoo as reference for the feathers on top, but that made the silhouette look too round for an electric type Pokemon, so I decided to make them spiky instead. That immediately looked better and took him from a 4 to an 8. Maybe I could have made him look angrier like Brout, but the next evolution definitely is, trust me.
Browtech. Once a Browtech gains its electric abilities, it likes to tease other Pokemon with them, often getting into trouble as a result.
So, here we are. Right away I knew that Browtech needed some more attitude, so this time I tweaked the expression and made his leaf brows more spiky. For reference, I was hesitant at first to use a toucan, since toucan Pokemon already exist. But let's be real, how many cat, dog and bird Pokemon are already out there? One more toucan isn't going to hurt, right? Either way, here's Brout's final evolution called Browton.
Browton. Its beak is strong enough to break even metal. Its temperamental nature can be hard for trainers to deal with.
That leaves us with our water starter Gekwa, and as soon as I saw this little guy I knew 3 things. 1. Yeah, that's the one. 2. They were going to evolve him into a biped, and 3. He will be cunty. I mean, look at this guy, he already has the lashes and everything. If Pokemon doesn't make him slay, I'll seriously be confused. Especially with their track record of how they have designed water starters before. It seems like fate, so I went with that concept. Someone also theorized that the starters might be inspired by Japanese culture because Pombon's fluff looks like a brush and Gekwa has the aura of a geisha. And I think that's pretty likely. Plus, I just liked that idea, so I knew that Gekwa would have to turn into a geisha in its final stage. But that's for later. First, I elongated his limbs and gave him frog-type hands, because I like the look of these poisonous frogs from the rainforest. That also inspired me to turn him into a poison type. His tongue is his weapon for hunting, and it releases the poison.
Gekwardo. Once this evolution is achieved, it starts to use its tongue to hunt. Rainy but sunny days give it an extra boost in HP.
Finally, we have the last evolution for Gekwa, and I knew what I wanted to draw, but my hand just wasn't cooperating somehow. Why now, when this was the starter I was most hyped about? I just kept on pushing and tried my best, so here's my vision. Like mentioned earlier, he will have to become a biped and have a geisha-like look. That's why I made the frog feet even bigger so they could resemble fans. Those can be used in combat in combination with his poisonous tongue. I sent the finished version to my friend and he told me what I knew deep down. Something was missing. It didn't look like a geisha yet. I really wanted to use this pose with the hands as fans, so the face was being obscured. That meant that the lipstick type shape wasn't visible. Underneath it looked kinda like this. Then my friend suggested to give him fins that looked like long sleeves of a kimono. It was like he read my mind, because I was thinking about doing the exact same thing earlier while designing it. I just didn't do it because I feared that it might be too much. But now all those doubts were gone and it immediately looked better. Have a look.
Gekwasha, also known as the Queen of the Rainforest. It might come off as snooty at first, but once it trusts the trainer, it develops a great loyalty.
And that concludes all the evolutions for today. I'll make sure to put them next to each other right here so you can have a better visual. And before I end this video, I want to mention that you can also follow me on my socials, and I even have a Patreon for some neat behind the scenes content and early access. If that sounds like something that would be up your alley, then take a look into the description. And with that, I hope you liked my first try on trying to come up with Pokemon designs. I hope you have a great day and take care.